He said that President Aliyev left Washington with stronger U.S. ties and investment promises, while Prime Minister Pashinyan left with far less. In response, though, Pashinyan said, "Today, Armenia is in the least vulnerable state of its modern independent history. We've never been less vulnerable since 1991, adding that Armenia was most vulnerable under the previous U.S. administration." Do you think his assessment is accurate?
Well, yeah, it's kind of interesting because, Aliyev is very critical of the relationship between the previous administration in Washington and Azerbaijan. So, there seems to be at least one area of agreement between the two leaders.
Hello again and welcome. I'm Dr. Joanne Lasowski, journalist and journalism educator. We're here to discuss issues of importance to the Caucasus. And with us today is Ambassador Richard Kozlerich. Ambassador Kozlerich is the former ambassador to Azerbaijan and a distinguished visiting professor at the Skar School of Policy and Government at George Mason University. Welcome, Mr. Ambassador.
Thanks, Joanne. Glad to be here.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the latest statements from Moscow that suggest the Kremlin is trying to pull the South Caucasus peace process back into its own orbit. Lavrov has downplayed the August 8 Washington agreements and is again promoting the 3+3 format, while Azerbaijan and Armenia seem increasingly able to deal directly with each other. What's your take on Moscow's pushback against what it calls the outside actors in this peace process?
Well, they're an outside actor if there ever was one, but that's maybe another story to talk about. But seriously, we should not be surprised. I am not surprised that there is this kind of reaction coming out of Moscow now. There was nothing good for them in the sense of Putin's interest, or in the sense of the bilateral relationship between the U.S. and Russia that came out of the Washington summit. It was a Trump summit. It was a Trump summit with the leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan, and that was what it was all about. And the way it's been portrayed in the press and by statements both from Pashinyan and Aliyev is that there's a new partnership on the horizon for both countries with the United States, and that must get under the skin of the leadership in Moscow, because that's a position that they have always claimed for themselves. I'm not surprised, but I don't know what Moscow at this point can do other than undermine leadership in both Armenia and Azerbaijan to turn them into kind of Georgian-like situations that we see now, sadly, going on with the pro-Moscow leadership in Tbilisi, calling the shots. But there should be, this should be something that Russia supports. They've said all along that this is something Armenia and Azerbaijan have to work out together. And I guess they only favor that until Armenia and Azerbaijan start working things out bilaterally. Maybe just to add a footnote here, I think that's one of the challenges that we have going forward is how to encourage the bilateral contacts. That September 8th is a long time away now, and there has to be some action that goes beyond contacts that in China between the two leaders. Always good, but it's like a bicycle. It really has to keep we have to keep pedaling to keep the bicycle going, and that's the bicycle to peace is going to require that kind of pedaling from both Baku and Yerevan.
So, and you mean August 8th? That's a long time ago.
August 8th, excuse me.
Right. So you talked a little bit about Georgia, And Georgia never joined the 3+3 because a part of its territory, as you said, is occupied by Russia. With this more pro-Russian government now in Tbilisi, do you think Georgia's position could change on the 3+3?
That's an interesting question that I hadn't really thought about. It's, you know, it could, it could. You know, I always thought the 3+3 was a flawed process at the beginning because it brought the Iranians in a way that is not helpful. I don't believe.